Okay, let's dive into this really fascinating idea from Life Chan Yuan Shufeng. What if I told you that everything you see around you, I mean everything from a giant mountain to your own thoughts, is all built from a kind of hidden blueprint, a universal structure that actually defines reality itself? The source text doesn't mince words here. It says flat out, without structure, you get nothing. No universe, no life, zip. And that's our starting point for this whole exploration. This single, powerful idea that there's an unseen architecture that dictates not just what things look like, but what they fundamentally are.
So let's dig into this universal blueprint concept a little deeper. The idea here is that structure isn't just about, how pieces are arranged. It's the very soul of a thing. It determines the nature of everything that exists, from the absolutely massive down to the mundane. Let's see how that works.
Right. Think about a mountain. What makes it a mountain? It's not just a big pile of rocks, is it? According to this idea, it has its mountainness because of its specific geological structure. That underlying framework is what gives it its shape, its strength, even what kind of life can survive on it.
Okay, now let's shrink all the way down to the microscopic level. You'll find the exact same rule applies. An atom is defined literally by its structure, how many protons, neutrons, and electrons it has. That tiny, tiny difference in structure is what makes hydrogen, the fuel of stars, completely different from gold, right? And here's where it really hits home, because this same principle supposedly applies to us. Our identity, our personality, what we're good at, what we struggle with. This philosophy says all of it is a direct result of our own unique, personal structure.
So the takeaway is that this is a universal law. From a sprawling galaxy to the inner workings of a human being, structure is presented as the master architect of, well, everything.
So if structure defines everything, what does that mean for us humans? Well, this is where the concept takes a bit of a darker turn. The text introduces what it calls the human structure, but it's not a neutral blueprint. It's presented as a kind of cage.
And this is the key term we need to understand, Renjian Jiego Zhen, which translates to the human structure formation. The author defines this as the entire framework of biological and social rules that we're all born into. And get this, it's presented as the fundamental root of all human suffering. It's like an invisible prison we don't even know we're living in.
And this isn't just some abstract philosophical concept. The text points to very real, very tangible burdens of this structure. Things like the daily grind, working for food and a roof over your head. The unavoidable cycle of being born, getting old, and getting sick. All the anxieties that come with marriage and family. All of these, it claims, are just symptoms of being trapped in this human framework.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty bleak, but it naturally leads to a huge question. If our structure is the problem, is it possible to change it? And this is where the philosophy offers a glimmer of hope, the possibility of escape.
And here it is, the core principle for how to break free. It's a simple but really powerful formula. If you want to change the fundamental nature of a thing, you have to start by changing its fundamental structure. And yes, that includes us.
Which, of course, is the million-dollar question, right? You can't just physically rearrange a person's atoms or something, so how in the world could a change this deep even be possible?
Well, the answer proposed here is that the change isn't physical at all. It's internal. The true structure that defines us, the one that really matters, is our consciousness. The text uses this amazing analogy for it. To change your life structure, you have to basically reformat the hard drive of your mind and install a brand new operating system.
So what are our choices for a new operating system? The text lays out two completely opposite options. There's our default programming, which it calls human consciousness, and then there's the alternative, something called immortal consciousness.
So here's a quick side-by-side. On one hand, you have human consciousness. It's all about owning things, competing with others, trying to control the world around you. It's a mindset that's really rooted in fear and materialism. Then you have immortal consciousness, which is the complete opposite. It's all about acceptance, harmony, and trust. It's about flowing with the world instead of trying to fight against it. Let's look a little closer at the software that we're supposedly trying to uninstall. Human consciousness is made up of all the stuff we know so well. Jealousy, greed, selfishness, that constant drive for fame and money, and that background hum of worry and anxiety. The text even argues our deep attachments to big ideas like nation or family are part of this limiting structure. And now, for the alternative, the upgrade. This new software of immortal consciousness is based on a totally different set of values. It's about living with the flow, accepting whatever comes your way. It's about following the patterns of nature, about seeing life as a kind of play instead of a constant struggle. And ultimately, it's about trusting that a higher power, whether you call it the Tao or God, is guiding your path.
Okay, so we've got the old system and the new one. But how do you actually do it? How do you make the switch? Well, the text lays out a clear, if conceptual, path to breaking free from that old structure and installing the new one.
Here it is, a 4-step process. First, you have to study and really deeply understand the principles of immortal consciousness. Second, you consciously work to format or erase your old ways of thinking. Third, you actively install the new mindset through your daily choices and practices. And finally, if you do that, you escape the old structure formation. That computer analogy is just so powerful for visualizing this internal process.
And this is the ultimate payoff. The logic all comes full circle. By changing your internal operating system, your consciousness, you are literally changing your fundamental structure as a being. And when you change your structure, you fundamentally change your reality.
So, we end on this final, pretty provocative question. If we take the premise of this text seriously, that our consciousness is the blueprint for our personal structure and therefore our entire lived reality, then it forces us to ask ourselves, what's the blueprint that I'm currently using? And, more importantly, what blueprint do I want to start building with from now on?